We want to welcome everybody back. Our special program today on Chamber Chat, we're talking about the siege at Bridgeport. We've got this contingent of folks, delegation, so to speak, from Bridgeport that's sharing information with us this year. Once again, let's right off the bat, the dates.
April 2nd and the 3rd, with school day being on April 1st.
April 1st. And the school day cost and schedule is what?
Yes, it's $2 per child, and if there's some kids at school that doesn't have the money, then they can come on with permission, and they'll be free, but $2, and that'll be from starts at 8:30 till around 2:30.
Let me say something too. Adults can come on that day too. It's one of the better days. It's a learning day, and it's probably my favorite day of the event.
And the kids that come, do they come from just Jackson County schools, or do they come from surrounding counties?
I've had them come from Marion County. I've had them come far away as Franklin County.
Yeah, we get them.
And of course, this year there's not any coming from Franklin County, but we've had them come out of Huntsville.
Is there a particular age group?
No, it's from from kindergarten on up. The only thing they do is just let me know what age group they are, where I know what place to put them. Instead of putting a little one in with the big ones, you kind of put them in sections with their age.
Glenn, what are some of the questions that these young people ask? I mean, there's all kinds of stories about the Civil War, and some are maybe accurate and maybe some not so accurate. So kids look for a little clarification on those?
They do. The worst thing, and Joe John's experience is like I have, we call it being a Farbie, and it means going by a sutler and getting a whole big fancy general's uniform on. We try to get dressed just like they did. We try to portray life like it was during the actual wartime. It just wasn't where you had to find the shoes or go buy a hamburger and french fry. You was eating what you could get. There's stories of where the men was picking up corn off the ground that the horses had dropped. Now these guys were hungry. A lot of them they don't comprehend that that's how bad it was. Mm-hmm. And we try to portray it as here's the way we look really, and we just don't throw that corn away. I like to have it. We'll put a little stage into it a little bit to get their attention. Mm-hmm. And some of them just astounded at the information. I didn't know that. But we try to teach authenticalism. That's what it's about on school day Friday.
One of the real interesting things that they have on school day is the flag demonstrations. They talk about different flags and what they meant, and tell you about what the flags are. And I guess they probably got 20 flags up there, and that's very
John
interesting.
from Mount Eagle.
Mm-hmm. John Westerfield.
Yeah, and Todd. There is a lot of controversy today going on about different flags, and I dare not get into it on the air, but during the Confederacy, the first national flag, the way it was designed and drawn up, if it furled around the staff, it looked like American flag over there. There was a lot of people getting killed over it. And then they come out with that second national, which was white with a corner flag, and when it furled around it, it looked like a surrender flag, so they got a lot of people killed under it. So the United States, not the Confederate States, the United States, Congressional put what we call today is the battle flag in to separate men from killing each other that weren't supposed to be killed. Mm-hmm. Now that flag stood over a lot of honorable men. It shouldn't be desecrated out here, just like the United States flag should not be desecrated. A lot of the history on that has been slid by. We don't get too political in it, but we do try to let it be known, So we got a beautiful flag display. You take the Carolina flag, the crescent moon and palm tree, you all seen it. That was one of the Carolina battle flags. They're still flying it as a state flag. But the knowledge of the flags is just kind of drifted by the teachers, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it's not been brought up in the public, and a lot of them need a little bit of education on those flags. There's a lot of men died went to see their maker on some of them flags, So we specify and kind of push that a little bit.
We promote the event, at least I've heard JP talk about it, that this is the largest reenactment that occurs in the state of Alabama that we know of.
Now, it was given that recognition at one time. And the way this started, it would be like me and Joe John starting an event, and we'd butt heads. We didn't know what Selma was going to do. We didn't know what people in Chattanooga was going to do. So we did. We butted heads, so we got established. And then all of a sudden, the siege of Bridgeport breaks out. It's the largest in the state of Alabama, and we started getting our recognition for that. Now, where it's at today, I really don't know, because we haven't checked into it this year. But at one given time, we were the largest in the state of Alabama.
And we are still the longest continuous event
Mm-hmm.
in the state of Alabama.
There's
It's
been a
running
lot of
longer
events
than
come and go, but ours has made it 22 years. At one given time, we had 1,800 not mounted, reenactors on the field displaying the battle.
1,800.
1,800, not talking about the,
And we fed them that year too.
yeah.
Not spectators, 1,800.
No, it wasn't
So,
these are reenactors in uniform reenacting. One of the big, well, it was the biggest in the state of Alabama.
and I'd say JP, we're somewhere, JP, I'm sorry, Ron, that we're, the last several years, we were somewhere around 600 to 700 is about the numbers that we're having.
How many horses would be involved with that many troops?
Well, now that's another thing we do. We segregate cavalry from infantry and artillery. That's the only way we can keep up with it. And when I get down there, I'll appoint an overall commander, which he can delegate stuff out. But we know who's going to take charge of the cavalry, which is most of the time a gentleman from up around Cleveland, Tennessee, named Cheese. Well, I said, take care of the cavalry. You do it your way. He knows what he's doing. He's been there as long as 30 years. Artillery, Bob Goodrich, general literally from the state of Florida. Bob, you going to take care of my artillery? Yeah, I've got it. So we're delegating it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then the commanders of such get together and set the scenario to what we're going to do for the public. We try to keep the action as close down to the public line as we can, but still make it look somewhat real. We had the distinction one year of what they call the Shiloh gun. It's a Riley gunner from over here at Shiloh. That gun fired the first shot over the Huntley after they took it and got it out. He brought the gun down to Bridgeport by request of me and Joe, and pulled up to where the crowd could see it, and he hollered at me to fire it. So that was a real piece that was at Shiloh Battlefield that fired the first shot over the Huntley crew when they got them over reburied. We've had a lot of historical events that happened up there.
Now, I have talked to a person or two that have participated in some musical events, I think, for y'all. Not necessarily for the public, but maybe at nighttime around the campfire and that kind of thing. Do you have that every year, or is that just kind of a thing that happens on its own? Or
It's every year we have
Yeah.
that, and we do have a band come, and then of course the ones you're talking about, there are some in the camps that entertain,
Mhm.
do their own entertaining, and they entertain everybody else too.
Tell them a little bit about the ball that we have.
Okay, the ball, we have it on Saturday night, and it'll start right at dark 30, whatever that falls at, usually around 8 o'clock. The band that's coming up, they're coming out of Memphis, the most of them are. There's 21, I think, in the band.
Brass band.
Bryce band, and they come up and they run the social ball, and they will call the dances and stuff, and you can come out and enjoy it.
The public is invited to
The
that as
public's
well.
invited. We ask that they come dressed,
If you
but
can.
if they can. If they can't, they can't. But we prefer they do. When they first start, all of them is more. It's more or less for the reenactors, but the public can come and enjoy it also.
When you talk about the dress, how difficult is it for you to get uniforms and maintain the ones that you have?
Well, you accumulate them, so to speak. You start out maybe to what we call sutlers. Now, a sutler is an old-time vendor. They vended, followed the men even in the battle, back behind the battle, and they would supply everything. They had offering of clothes, shoes, whatever they could afford. We now entertain what was called sutler roll. It's the era, and they dress, have the era stuff, and if a man wanted a pair of dungarees or something of that era, he would purchase them. Although now there is seamstress that will make clothes for them. This Gibson girl at Bridgeport and Maryland, they all kind of, every once in a while get somebody to sew a button on or something, you know. You can get clothes made for them.
But the bottom line is these uniforms are not cheap.
No, they're not.
That would be my guess.
I just want to say before we conclude, don't forget our breakfast, Friday morning, April 1st at 7:30.
Judy, I appreciate you throwing that in.
And one other thing on yours, please tell the public when they come, it is a working farm. Don't come down in high heels. Because if it happens to rain, they will be up in their knees in mud.
And we've had it rain a couple of times.
It has, yes.
Just mention the anvil.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to mention that we have an anvil shoot each year, and that's one of the highlight events. It starts at 1 o'clock each day, and they'll continuously run it for about an hour until the battle starts. But it's really something to see them shoot a 60 and 80 pound anvil 100 to 200 feet in the
Well, we
air.
also have a movie star here.
Well, you too. We were all in, our
Sweet Home
unit
Alabama.
was in Sweet Home, Alabama.
I remember
Sweet Home,
that.
Alabama, yeah.
Well, we're going to have to run. Our time is up for today. As you can see, we've got more things to talk about than time to talk about it. But we want to thank our viewers for watching us today on Chamber Chat, and we'll see you next time.